You might be one Amazon purchase away from having a solid night of sleep, or you may not be. All right. I want to talk about mouth guards for sleep apnea and snoring, and what are going to be the best ones, and also more importantly, do you even need one? So, this is the comprehensive one stop shop to pick out a good mouth guard. Now, obviously, there's no affiliate links or anything like that. This is just a very objective, just like, hey, I am a medical doctor telling you about mouth guards, sleep apnea, snoring, so that you can make good informed decisions that could possibly give you better sleep at night. Or at the very least, say you get something, it doesn't work. You're getting one step closer to fixing one of the biggest problems of your life. Because when you're not sleeping well, from like the moment you get up, it just sometimes feels like it is going to be a mountain of a day ahead, right? You have that mental dread that comes in between all the brain fog and the fatigue, and then you're going through the day, you're pushing, you feel like you're just, whether it's not productive at work or at home, and it's just like this big push through everything that becomes very frustrating, right? Or even disappointing when you're just like constantly doing everything you can just to do the minimum. So a mouth guard could help you get out of that, or it could not. So we're gonna find about that today. But first, do you even need one? Okay, let's talk about that because maybe you searched this or found this online, this may be a very short video for you. Okay, so when for myself, when I had sleep apnea, this was one of the first things that I did. Right, went to Amazon. Oh, I just gotta wear this. And then everything's all right. But in working with so many people over the years and hearing about their experiences with mouth guards, I've been able to really hone in on like, okay, what are going to be the top factors that determine whether a mouth guard or not is going to help you for sleep apnea? So let's just look at this here. We'll call it the mouth guard. And yeah, if this is your first time watching this, my handwriting's awful. All right. Was almost held back in fourth grade because of that. Mouth guard quiz. All right. For OSA, obstructive sleep apnea. Okay. Mouth guards won't really help central sleep apnea. All right. So here's the things I'm looking at. Okay. Number one, do you snore? All right. You can hold up your fingers and count points. Okay. Do you snore? Number two, is there positional dependency? Now that sounds weird, right? But what that means is, are you someone who, the moment you go into your back, you kind of gasp and wake up? Is that you? Okay. Or you can only sleep well in a recliner or on your side. Okay. Is that you? Okay. Last one. Are you someone who has an overbite? All that means is that your top teeth, your top chompers, as they say, go out beyond the bottom one. Okay. So it would look like this from the side. Okay. Is that you? All right. So if you count up your points, well, if you got more than one, well, I mean, if you have one at all, really, then a mouth guard might be a good fit for you. Pun fully intended on that. So if that is you, keep watching. If not, I mean, you can do whatever you want. This is a free internet unless you're watching this in, yes, China. But that's not the point. The point is that there are some major factors to consider. So we're going to consider them together here, okay? I even made slides for this, okay? That's how committed I am, okay? So main factors to consider, okay? And this won't be death by PowerPoint. Everyone stop having PTSD PowerPoint, all right? Quit it. Main factors to consider. This was for your good. Comfort, adjustability, breathability, and durability, okay? So in all the ones I've used had our patients that they used before working with us, because a lot of people, when they're using a mouth guard, okay, sometimes it works, okay, great. Sometimes it just doesn't, and you need a deeper solution. Or the other one, you use it, works a little bit, stops working. Nonetheless, when you start out, main factors here. And so in doing this over the years, here are the top recommendations. We'll go one by one with all of these. So there's Zquiet, the Good Morning Snore Solution, Sleep Tight, and Snore RX. All beautifully named, all right? So, and great thing about this, I will have the price. These are just Amazon screenshots uh, from 2024. Okay, so the first one, Zquiet here. Okay, you can see it. $70, and I will have a table of all the sort of the summary of the highlights here as we go in depth. And a 2.7 rating. And when you look at the reviews of all of them, really, it's the same thing. It's like, didn't work, or really hurt my jaw, my mouth, hurts my teeth in the morning, um, painful to use. It's pretty much all the same. So this is something you'll see typical of all mouth guards. So Z quiet. Okay. So for this, it's flexible, molds to your teeth here, and has a hinge design. So if we look back at that, right, see how it's a hinge here. And that will effectively able to apply more pressure to keep your jaw open. Okay, that's how this works here. And maybe I should go back and explain that a little bit of how mouth guards work here. This will be a tiny second and we'll give you a world of insight here. Okay, sleep apnea, how does it happen? All right, here is, there we go. Eventually I'll get better at drawing this over the years. So you have a dinosaur that is on its back here. This is a human. And so air comes in, right? And you have like the back of the tongue here. Okay, this is the airway. Okay, airway. And if you imagine the air coming through this airway, right? That's good. That's what we want. However, given certain circumstances, whether anatomy, maybe there's a larger neck, there's more weight, there's just this like narrowing of the airway, then this can become narrow, okay? And then here's the cool thing. When we talk about air coming through, it's kind of wonky donkey to always point an arrow from your nose in. It's really a vacuum effect. So your diaphragm pulls your lungs down, and then air is pulled down here, and there's actually like in reverse, okay? Air is being pulled in. It's not pushed through your nose, but you knew that, but just to really make this correct. The reason this is important, I'm harping on this, because one, I love physics. Two, this is important to understand that this then vacuums your tongue back into your airway, okay? And depending on the narrowing of your airway, if there's a more narrow airway, okay, this is really important. If the geometry of your airway is more narrow, then your tongue can more easily block off the airway, all right? So if it's wider, you can pull the tongue back, but it may not block it, okay? Now, why does this happen is because in obstructive sleep apnea, whether it's adenoids, deviated septum, a jaw misalignment, bigger neck, etc., all of those lead to the same thing where you have a more narrow airway at night, okay? And at first, it's not a problem, okay? That's why you just don't develop sleep apnea like all suddenly in one night, okay? But what happens over time is that you start to overbreathe at night. You have a faster inhale, okay? And when you have a faster inhale, that will actually pull the tongue further back here. Now, how do mouth guards come in, okay? Thank you for being part of my educational journey here today. Magic School Bus, that's always what I wanted to be, but they don't have auditions for that show. So when you use a mouth guard, it will alter the geometry of your airway such that it will start to push the tongue up or keep it up. Okay, so it'll alter the geometry, and I won't subject you to my awful artwork to try to demonstrate that, but it will start to actually alter the geometry here. And actually, what I will show you is Snore RX. Okay, and this is one of the ones we're going to review here. I hope they don't mind me doing this. I guess, like, what are they going to do? Okay, Snore RX. That's not the one I want. So this is one we'll review here. And the reason I'm bringing this up, they have a beautiful diagram that I'm actually quite jealous of. Here we go. So as you can see here, let me zoom in for you. All right. So when air is coming in, right, it's getting pulled in, right? Then if you put in some sort of device, it keeps the airway open there. Okay, so I'll zoom in even more because we kind of missed that. Okay. This is normal, right? Nice and easy. But then when you have certain issues, okay, oh, it's more narrow, it's closing down back here, okay? but if you put in a device, it can move it back forward. All right. This is how all mouth guards, mandibular advancement devices, and many oral appliances work. This mechanism here. Okay. And again, whoever this animator, you did a great job. Okay. Fantastic. So that's how they work. Okay. So coming back to our regularly scheduled program here, then with this, okay, with Zquiet, so I mean by hinge design, it allows that to have a little bit more force back there, but without like being too brute force, okay, using a hinge and leverage as opposed to like sort of knobs that you pull on here. Okay, it's very low profile, so easy to fit, and no boiling or molding here. Kind of molds over time. All right, but the biggest complaint you'll see is that it feels very bulky. Okay. Now, next you have the beautifully named Good Morning Snore solution. And, you know, similar in terms of ratings, a little bit more expensive. Apparently at the time of this, it's $5 off. But here's the kind of the big difference. It is a more custom fit, okay? Because you can actually boil it, bite it, and then that allows it to fit better. Whereas the reason the Quiet, Zquiet, feels bulky, you can't really like fit it very tightly. Okay, you can get some fit, but not all the way. Okay, it now the Good Morning Snore solution also helps with the tongue. Okay, so maybe you've been told you have a fatty tongue. Okay, on top of everything else. Okay, you may want to consider that. You can adjust it. Okay, and then it also allows your mouth to close. Okay, so maybe a little bit more comfort there. Okay, now whenever you have something that is adjustable, because it'll be whether they have like little sliders or some of them have like a little thing you twist there, those need an adjustment period because you're literally changing the anatomy of your oral cavity. Okay, so just something to be aware of that adjustment period is it's growing pains. It doesn't feel fun at all. Okay, next on the list, sleep tight. Okay, and once again here, you know, 3-star rating, and again, same sort of profile across here. About $60 for this. Okay, so unique thing though, open front. Okay, so it does allow more comfort. So if you ever had to use some of these, it when you have something in sort of that upper and lower lip pocket, okay, it's uncomfortable. So that is not present with the sleep type, okay? And it allows for more freedom of the jaw. If you're into being BPA free, it's also that way. But the downside, which ironically, because it allows more freedom, but not customizable, okay? Like you can't adjust it, okay? Not a boil and bite, okay? So kind of one size fits most, which is kind of in alignment with like, okay, if it's smaller here and not so much in the front, you know, you can get by on that, okay? Now the Snore Arcs, that's a Pokemon. This is the Snore RX, okay? Now, the as you can see here, this kind of demonstrates some of the things we've seen on other devices here. This is the adjustability, and this is something you can mold as well. Now, they aren't on Amazon, so this is actually a Walgreens. I took a screenshot from Walgreens, which I find funny. I don't really think about leaving a review on Walgreens, but here you go. So very similar to all the others here. So you can boil and bite, make adjustments, gives coverage, and durability seems to be, if it does work for you, that right, like if it does work, it seems to last longer, okay, because you can really go through these things quickly, but again, very bulky, okay. So all together here, I mean, the simplest thing, and I did round up to the nearest dollar, so if it was like $69.99, just went added a penny, okay. All right. Basic pros and cons here. So if this is the thing you want to screenshot, this is the high level overview of the best mouth guards out there. So the Zquiet pros, molds the teeth without boiling, but it feels bulky, $70. The Good Morning, you know, boil fit, can adjust further, but then the adjustment period is painful. Okay, $85. The Sleep Tight, okay, it's a little bit smaller, one size fits most, right? And then the Snore RX, you know, you can boil it down and then also can adjust it further, but bulky, also durable though, okay, and at $60 as well. So there's the brief summary of all of that there. Now, your decision here is then to decide on which one you want to try. Because again, I don't have a horse in this race here. Okay, I don't, you know, um, I'm not even like is Snore RX a New York Stock Exchange public company? But really, I'm supporting you because I'm investing, obviously my time, being able to share this information with you and your ability to make a decision. Okay, because the thing is, you may decide you don't want any of this. Okay, you don't want to like deal with all of this or like buy one, buy the next, and do the other here. And nothing wrong with like investing in your health, but it's about making a decision. Because if you just watch this video and don't get any of them, okay, because again, I'm not going to provide any affiliate links whatsoever, but it's really about you being able to make a decision to either, hey, try one of these things out, or to not try any of these things out, because the idea of having this in your mouth at night just seems so painful. It's just about making a decision, because just learning this and not doing anything, you might as well have done nothing here today. You might as well just never have even started this video. So make a decision, which one you may try, or not trying any of them at all, okay? And going another option, because the more you're able to make decisions on your journey, the faster you can have change and the faster you can get out of the grips of sleep apnea. Because when you're not sleeping right, when you're just jolting up at night, not only is this like choking out every single stinking cell in your body, but it is going to, choke out the quality of life you have right now, right? Because when you're someone who, at the end of the day, just the thought of talking to people, doing anything enjoyable is just like not even there. Or you're irritable with the people around you. Or you're just like sinking into this place where you feel like your life is just like do a few things, right? Maybe work, but like what else? What is this all for? And that's when it comes in of like when you do have the time to reflect and the mental bandwidth, it's like, where is this going? Who am I becoming in the process? A lesser version of yourself, an anxious version of yourself, a person who's fearing and living in fear, constantly having to think about their health and where it goes, whether it's a heart attack or stroke here. Okay? Because, as much as I like to use humor and have some fun, sleep apnea is no laughing matter. Okay? But when you're able to make a decision, because like one of these, it may just absolutely knock it out of the park for you. Okay, I hope this is a $70 problem. Okay, and I hope the thing works forever and all that. But you only know if you make a decision. Because on the other side of a decision is a better option of who you can be, right? Where like you're waking up in the morning, you're having that great sense of just like being dialed in, engaged, mental clarity, and being able to really even be in a position where maybe, even avoid a CPAP entirely here. Now, as great as that sounds with a mouth guard, there are some dirty little secrets of mouth guards that I would be remiss if I did not share with you. Okay, so yeah, I'm typing this out for people watching because I can't subject you to that much awful handwriting in one day. It's just probably get a complaint. Someone will comment something really snarky and then I'll cry for a few days. I only cry at least once when someone leaves a negative comment. So please leave a negative comment. Um, so there's a little secret here, okay? Because when we think about mouth guards and what they do, right? They alter the geometry, okay? If you've had braces, okay, that is altering the geometry of your mouth in a different way, right? And it's to realign teeth. Now, this is to realign or just keep your airway open, okay? And that can cause very different things where it can like actually cause damage to your jaw. It can even cause your teeth. It's called jetting. Essentially, instead of being nice and flat like this, okay, like imagine we're looking at the side or looking at the side teeth here, but like straight on, okay. Instead of being nice like this, like kind of your molars, they might start to go like this. Okay, they kind of go to the side here. Okay, and this is going to cause more issues over time. Okay, and when we think about like you know sleep, sleep's supposed to be a very natural thing. It's supposed to be a natural, easy thing. So why do we need to like jam a piece of plastic in there to make it work, right? And we also think about like the environment in which we sleep in affects the quality of that sleep, right? Well, the thing is, this is coming more out. Every generation has its environmental exposure. This generation is probably going to be microplastics. You're breathing in and out plastic, 8 hours. okay, if you're using this thing. The effect of that, nobody knows that. Research coming out, microplastic goes into your cells, does not come out of your cells. You know, so just really things to consider. But the biggest thing, because when we think about that problem that I drew here so beautifully, is that remember, air gets pulled, the pull of air starts in your lungs, and then that pulls it all the way through. Like from the atmosphere, it gets pulled down into your lungs. There's a pull here. Now, the thing is, when you use one of these things, it doesn't actually affect this breathing pattern, okay? Because as you start to have a faster inhale to try to compensate for sleep apnea, you actually create a neural habit, okay? Your brain pretty much only knows fast inhale, fast inhale, fast inhale, breathe faster, okay? So even when you put in a oral device or a mouth guard, it doesn't actually fix the breathing pattern, okay? And when you're not breathing properly, okay? Well, let me ask you, when you're not breathing properly during the day, how does that affect your physiology, right? I told you to breathe like this all day. What is that going to do? Okay. And I'm sorry if you're only listening to this and you just kind of heard me breathe really loudly for a little bit. Probably kind of creepy, but your breathing impacts your whole body physiology. So if you're breathing too fast or you're not properly oxygenating, what is that going to do to your cells? Because your health depends on how your cells work, right? And how your cells work depend on having the proper amount of oxygen. And if you're not breathing correctly, are all of your cells going to have the proper oxygenation? No, they're not. Okay? And I mean, we even see that sometimes, even on just a pulse ox with someone's red blood cells, right? That's not even properly oxygenated. Well, if that's not properly oxygenated, then like how do you think your brain's doing? Or other organs, whether it's like your heart, right? Or your blood vessels. Okay? So that's why natural breathing is essential for being able to have natural, easy sleep where you're able to recover fully. Now, in terms of the odds of these things, we're kind of coming back to this. All right. When you look at some, studies of where, um, researchers, they take all the different studies because there's a lot of studies on mouth guards, right? And they'll have one study, it's called a meta-analysis. Think of it as study on the studies, where they take like dozens of these papers, okay, sometimes even hundreds, and they combine all the data because then that allows you to have a more clear picture. So you can take a lot of data, put it together, look at it, and that helps you see the whole landscape of what's really true. What's really true about these mouth guards is about 30% of people, okay, will have a 25 to 50% improvement. Okay. That's when you look at all the data in a lot of studies that includes thousands and thousands of people conducted at universities, funded by the government, all those different places, and being able to really see this tremendous accuracy of this is how effective mouth guards are. Now, again, you may be in this 30%. You may only need, 25 to 50% improvement, right? Some of you may not. Okay. So just keep that in mind when you're making those decisions. Okay. Of what is it you're really getting. Okay. And in terms of being able to, you know, even seek out other options here, because maybe you decided that's not for me. Okay. Then one thing that you could check out here is we do have our free video series at ochnow.com/SF freedom. Let me zoom out here so you can see it. All you gotta do is just type that in to your handy dandy web browser. Okay. One day I'll figure out how to make a button appear on screen. That'd be so cool. But just go to ochnow.com/SA freedom. All one word, all lowercase. And it'll be a video series that will cover other ways to really take sleep apnea head on, okay? And it really dives in deep of like, how did this develop? What can you do to fix it? And a lot of other things. That's all. It's free, okay? The freedom is free here. And you don't need to even like put in your email or anything like that. So ochnow.com/SA freedom. Now, if you're someone who maybe you've already gone through all this, right? and you're just like, okay, mouth guard is not for me. And you just really want to be able to powerfully fix this because it is something that just many days drives you to your wits end. It is just something that becomes such a high priority. It's like constantly in your mind how to fix this, and you just want to be able to just like take the action and fix it now. If you're someone at that level of really wanting to be able to show up fully for yourself and your health, then where you can go is go to ochnow.com/talk. Okay, and that's where you can find our 45-minute free evaluation session. All right, and that's where we dive in deep on your problems, your goals, how to get you there, and if we can help, we'll walk you through that. But if not, we'll steer you to someone or something else. Okay, and no, the answer isn't always just watch more YouTube videos. What if it was? Um, and so once you go there, you'll fill out a form. Okay, and then you just pick a date and time. Okay, so either way, you're a winner and you're making some progress with it. Okay, so thanks for watching and see you soon.